Hey listeners, before we get into today's podcast, I just want to give a shout out to today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is Tiny and Sons Glass. Does your vehicle have cameras or driver's assist? If so, when your windshield is replaced, it will need to be recalibrated. What is recalibration? When your vehicle's windshield is replaced, the safety systems need to then be tested to ensure that they work with your new windshield. Some vehicles require static recalibration, and others require a dynamic recalibration. Not sure who to trust to take care of this recalibration for you? Well, just call Tiny & Sons Glass in Pembroke, Mass. They are experts in auto glass and registered company of the Auto Glass Safety Council. Plus, they make it easy. They will call your insurance company for you. Get your windshield replaced by their highly trained auto glass technicians and get your vehicle recalibrated so you can be back on the road. Tiny & Sons Glass, keeping you and your family safe. Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy, the Inebri-art podcast. And actually, it was almost a year ago to the day when COVID first hit and we weren't able to record in person. I started Zoom recording, which initially I didn't want to do, but I found out it was allowing me to talk to a lot of people that I wouldn't be able to speak to. And today's guest is definitely one of those people. They are in Copenhagen, Denmark right now. Martin and Mads from the Communions. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
And I got the pronunciation right of the name?
Yeah, it was perfect.
No, thanks. That's not my forte, so I appreciate that. So let me just start off by asking, like, what's going on there now due to COVID? Like, how are you guys in lockdown? Are you guys starting to open up? Like, what's Denmark like?
We've been in lockdown, which basically means that, like bars and restaurants and hair salons are closed. Mm-hmm. And you have to wear a mask, like, in the metro, in supermarkets. But I think that we're beginning to open up now.
Yeah, the government just released like a opening plan.
Yeah,
a few days ago. But basically, no one really knows what will happen because if something sparks up, then they'll just close down again.
Close it back down.
Yeah, I mean it's been totally closed for a long while now. I mean, nothing has been open. So
yeah, but I mean now spring is going to come too, which I think will help a lot. People will go outside and. I think that's going to help.
It's unfortunate. I've actually been to Copenhagen, and it is a gorgeous city. So I really enjoyed my time there. I only spent, I think, like 36 hours there, but it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's nice, especially in the summer. Yeah,
and it could be Americans don't typically think of Denmark as a music hotbed. Is there like a big music scene there? Like, are there clubs? Like, what's the scene there like?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of clubs, at least here in Copenhagen. And I feel like scenes, they kind of come and go. But I mean, we kind of started out as in a pretty vibrant like rock scene, I guess you could say. From some years ago, which maybe has kind of evaporated a little, or like, it's spread out more now, but I mean, and people are doing their own thing more. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of electronic music as well these days, coming out of Copenhagen.
Yeah, in recent years, there's actually been like a brand new or like reinvented techno scene, kind of.
Yeah.
And like you have like all these people coming from Berlin and coming from London to to play like techno gigs, and play at raves in Copenhagen too.
Now, how does that affect you guys? When I was listening to your music on YouTube, I kind of was comparing it to more of the Pixies. Is kind of what was like striking me. I don't know how familiar you are with, because you look like younger guys. Pixies is my generation, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are influenced by a lot of different things, but I don't know if you know that we actually grew up in Seattle for.
Oh, really? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a while ago. I mean, we grew up there, so it was from the time I was 5 until I was 15, 16 years old, and you were.
I was like,
a little bit younger. But,
0 to 12 or something.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with your English, and I that explains it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think we're definitely influenced by different things, both American bands and British bands, and obviously the scene that we kind of have come out of from here. And yeah, so I mean.
So did you start playing music? Like, did you pick up instruments when you were here in the U.S., or was that something that you did when you were over there?
I did. I mean, I'm a little bit older than Mads is, and so I definitely in my teenage years was playing already in like a couple of bands. Nothing really serious, but just some teenage bands with my friends, and where I was playing guitar and writing some of the songs too, actually. But it wasn't before communions that I really began writing songs for myself to sing, and that was like something new at that time. And yeah, you picked up. When did you pick up the bass?
I think I got my first bass pretty early, like because you got a guitar, then because we were brothers and they didn't want to treat us differently, I had to get something too.
Yeah.
So I just got like a really cheap used bass, but I didn't really play it that much. I pretty much started playing when we made the band.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we started when you started in the band. You had basically never really played bass before.
Not really.
We just kind of did it because it was like
I had one.
Yeah, because you had one, maybe.
So did you start the band as like what made you want to be a band as brothers as opposed to like starting a band and getting other people in it? I'm not even sure that question made sense, but
no, I feel you. I think that, I mean, I had written some songs, and I was also pretty inexperienced musically myself, so I didn't really even think in terms of trying to branch out and reach a bunch of people, asking them to be in them. I mean, I was trying to just like use my immediate surroundings to get this band going, and so, I mean, I asked a few of my friends from high school, Frederick and Jacob, who were the other guys who originally were in the band when we began, and then Mads, simply just because it was like what I had around me to work with, I guess, and that was kind of what initiated it to begin with, was just that I had these songs and wanted someone to play with.
Do you think it's
didn't really have...
Sorry, do you think it's easier because Mads is your brother, where it's like I mean, I would assume you guys are closer than just normal friends, your brothers. So is it like easier to kind of like put your ideas out there and feel like either he's not going to judge you too harshly, or just be more honest and not just be like, oh no, I like it. Like, that kind of brother, like, oh, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just really nice to have something stable in that sense with the band. That the fact that we're brothers, and I don't know. What do you think? I mean, there's definitely not really any conflicts. Although that's what a lot of people think, that because you're brothers, there has to be a lot of.
Well, I immediately jumped to the Black Crows,
Yeah.
That's immediately what I think of, and be like, oh, it sounds like a nightmare. But
yeah, no, and that's what a lot of people think. But for us, it really hasn't been that way. maybe surprisingly, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
In playing out in clubs and whatnot, I'm not sure how much. You guys were pretty young when you left the U.S. Did you have any gigs that you played out here? And like, is there a difference between U.S. audiences and European audiences?
We played one show in LA, but that was back in 2014, right when we were starting, and it wasn't only our show. It was part of this Danish festival, I guess you could say, that was being hosted in LA through a label called Plush Isolation that released our first EP. So it was with a bunch of other Danish bands, which was really, a good, nice playing there. I think that I don't know if there's too much of a difference between the US and Danish audience.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'd experienced a noticeable difference. I guess we've also played in Japan.
Yeah, and
that was maybe a little bit more noticeable.
Yeah, we were just talking about this recently, that the way that the fan culture in Japan is just so crazy that, playing to a Japanese audience is probably the most surreal thing we've tried. So, that's definitely way different. So if you compare it up to that, there's not too much of a difference between a European and American audience. But
So what was different about the Japanese audience? Were they more like vocal? Were they screaming? Like,
no, they're really, really quiet actually, and then they just like kind of look at you and are very like humble. They're very Well, how would you explain it? Like there was people who had like cut out our faces on cardboard and were like waiting.
Oh,
it's like very like,
that's weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. And
and they bought presents for us.
They gave us presents and drew pictures of us.
Yeah, like weird Japanese candy.
Yeah, so that's not something you would experience here at all.
No, I think if I was standing in front of an audience of cardboard faces of myself, I'd freak out.
Yeah, it was really surreal.
So when you guys are working on new music and writing stuff, like what's the dynamic there? Like, do you kind of work together? Do you work separately and then bring your pieces together?
Well, I've always been the songwriter, I guess you could say, in the band. So I write like the framework for a song and then arrange it with the other guys in the rehearsal space, and then but recently two of the guys that were starting the band with us, Jakob and Frederick, they actually kind of dropped out of the band while we were recording and mixing this record, which is really weird, because then they had like recorded their stuff for the record, but we ended up kind of mixing it, just me and Mads and the producer. And now we're like, we've assembled a new live band to play with, to play these songs with. So it's like a weird hybrid right now of like old material that was made with some other people that we're now playing with a new live band, and trying to figure out also where to go from here, like with this new band, because it's definitely like opened up a lot of possibilities playing with these other people that have their own totally unique way of organically playing. And so maybe that'll change the process. I don't know. That's something we're trying to figure out, I think.
Yeah, that's got to be I can imagine replacing one person in a band's got to be difficult, but we're trying to replace two at the same time is.
Yeah, and then we got 3 new guys, so we got an extra guy. He's doing synthesizer keyboard stuff, which we haven't really done too much of. On the new record here, there's some stuff. There's some keyboards and like Rhodes and piano stuff in the arrangement, but
Yeah,
but yeah, it'll be
it
interesting to see where we go.
It just gives a whole new spectrum of possibilities. Also, when you have those tools in the rehearsal space, and not only when you're producing, yeah, you just have so many more possibilities. Yeah.
So I've talked to a lot of people over the past year, and it seems like it's a 50-50 split, where some people are like, this is great, I get to spend so much more time in the studio, and I'm so like full of like creative energy, and other people like, I don't want to do anything, and I've been, binge watching Netflix. And how's it affected you guys? Have you had more creative energy to like work on stuff, or is it like really trying to struggle to get to that creative level?
I don't think that the pandemic has made me like less creative, but I definitely feel like it's gotten more difficult. Like in the beginning, I wasn't so affected by it. I was probably thinking more along the lines of, this is fine, I'll just, use the time wisely to write more music and stuff. But I I definitely feel lately it's been getting harder and harder to not have like some other mental spaces to go into, just like apart from my apartment. And it's been kind of tough. But on a more like concrete level, we've been prevented from playing a lot of shows. So that really sucks. I mean, we were hoping to have been able to play a lot of shows here in connection with the release of our singles and the record. So, I mean, that really blows.
Yeah. Have you guys,
Yeah, it's. Really
sorry.
To.
I'm sorry, Mads, I didn't get that.
Oh, there's just really nothing to look forward to, which like really drains your energy. Yeah, that's just my experience with the whole lockdown situation.
Have you guys tried any of the live stream that it seems like a lot of bands are doing? We actually started doing it for local musicians here in Plymouth, where they weren't allowed to play in business restaurants and bars and whatnot, and we have a huge musician community here, so we started live streaming one person every Wednesday. But have you guys tried that at all, or what was your experience like?
We haven't tried that ourselves. I haven't personally seen a live stream of a concert either myself, but next month we're actually playing live in the radio here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be a live stream concert where we'll be playing, like, and that's nice because like that's going to happen. I mean, there's not any corona restriction that can keep you from doing that. So finally, there's something that we know.
Yeah, but we don't really have any other experience doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, are you guys planning? See, this has to be the really tough part. Is like you have a new record out, and it's like how do you plan a tour? Like, are you planning a tour, or are you just kind of waiting? Like, how are you trying to push the launch? I mean, obviously the radio, but I mean, is there something else?
Yeah, I mean, well, we had a lot of concerts planned here or at least some planned here in Denmark, even just in the spring, but we never got around to announcing them because of the restrictions. And our booking agent just kept telling us, don't announce it yet. Don't announce it yet. It's people aren't buying tickets right now and stuff. And so, I mean, we've definitely held off and just from announcing anything. But right now we're planning towards the fall. I mean, we're planning on doing a tour in the fall, at least here in Denmark. I mean, it would be nice to be able to do a European tour or something. But I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, hopefully.
Are there like outdoor venues? Because that's kind of what we're at right now. Is if it's an outdoor venue, you can have a concert, but you have to be at tables, and the tables have to be 6 feet apart, and you have to buy, like, you can't buy one ticket, you have to buy a table's worth of tickets. And there's a place not far from us that's doing it, and so far every show they've had is sold out like really quickly. There's not a lot of tickets, but it's just nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like the restrictions that have been implemented here when they were still doing shows. I mean, that was like, yeah, people, you could hold a show, but people had to stand with like a meter's distance or more from each other.
Yeah, that was like a couple months ago.
But now there's like, just no show. I mean, you can't. They've totally banned people from assembling more than like 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's been some pretty crazy restrictions here lately, and now they're just starting to open up. So I mean, yeah, we're obviously hoping that it'll go back to something at least along the lines of the restrictions you just mentioned, where you can have a show.
I think realistically, it's going to be something like you have seated concerts inside, half capacity.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be something like people have to wear masks. And another rule that they had here a couple of months ago was that you weren't allowed to sing along.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. It's so funny to hear like the restrictions that you guys have and the restrictions that we have. And, you know, a lot of Americans are whiny babies, and they're complaining and crying about the restrictions that we have, and then to hear what you guys are going through, it's just like, you know, we should be happy that we have what we do have.
Yeah, the whole situation definitely makes you appreciate what you what you had before.
Because there's been kind of like this thing here where they're not allowed. You can have music, you can have live music, but there can't be singing. So you can have like just an instrumental performance. But a lot of places down here are just kind of not caring and just doing whatever they want, and it's gotten really weird. But it's interesting to hear what you guys are kind of going through, to be like, we should just shut up and be happy that we have what we have.
Yeah. It's interesting also that each country's way of handling it is kind of unique, and it's just crazy times.
Yeah, we have a lot of very difficult people to deal with.
You won't mention any names, or?
Oh, I mean, you want names? I'll get. Yeah. So it is what it is. But so like I mentioned before, you guys remind me of the Pixies, and you said that you got influence from American music because you grew up here. But like, what were some of the direct influences music-wise on you, like specifically?
From America, or just
in general, wherever?
Well, I think it kind of, like, when we were starting the band, we had like a lot of internal influences, like between us, the four of us, the original 4 people that were doing the band. That was very like based on like British guitar music, like Britpop stuff, and also like 80s kind of the Smiths and the Cure and like this kind of stuff, and like the Stone, like a lot of Britpop stuff, like the Stone Roses, and that was kind of like where we started from, and then I think it's kind of evolved more into something different, I guess, in a certain way now. I mean, I guess the new record probably has a little American influence in some way. Maybe because it's just us mixing it now. No, I don't know. It's not something we think about too much, like whether we're doing like an American influence song or something. It's just kind of a ragbag of different things that we draw from. I also think that since finishing the album, like we've begun listening to way different stuff already again. So it's really an evolving thing, always, I think.
Yeah, I kind of find that the music you listen to kind of, I mean, like in a certain period of time will like unconsciously push you in the same direction. So like if I started to listen to like a lot of jazz music, then I'll just like immediately, without thinking about it, like want to play more in like more of a jazz style.
Yeah.
So I think it's like an unconscious thing, I think.
So what are you guys listening to now?
Well, yeah, a lot of different stuff. I mean, a lot of like, I've been listening to like a lot of instrumental, like beat based, like almost hip, like a lot of hip hop, like Mad Lib's new record, I think is really, really great.
This is my favorite part. This is where I write down new stuff to listen to. Mad Libs.
Well, yeah, and this is like not a lot of rock stuff, because I've been listening to like a lot of, getting into like hip hop has been really a great experience for me. But like someone who I've been listening to a lot that has been that is really good at mixing, I think, a lot of disparate genres is Yves Tumor. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I don't know. I'll have to check that out also.
Yeah. He's doing some really interesting stuff that like mixes rock and electronic music in a really interesting way. Yeah, I don't know.
What about you, Mads?
Well, yeah, I've also been listening to a little bit more hip hop and yeah, also Madlib's new record, and Radiohead is also a band that I've only now kind of appreciated. What else?
There's this guy called David Kilgore who is or was the lead singer of the band The Clean. It's like a new Zealand band. But we recently discovered his solo stuff, which I don't know if it's been like an influence, but it was really awesome to hear, because it like reminded us of what we were trying to do with Communions, I guess. I mean, it has like a kind of a similar vibe to it. So yeah, I've been playing his first record a lot lately.
Is there anything that like one of you listens to that like irritates the shit out of the other one, where you're like, seriously, turn off Miley Cyrus?
Maybe. A guilty pleasure. I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure. Actually, it's not really. I mean, Kanye West, I listen to a lot of, and I don't know if that annoys you or if you like him.
I think it annoyed me in the beginning, but now I kind of know what you mean. Like,
I think that's got to be one of those things where you separate the art from the artist. Where
yeah, exactly.
He did music, but he's a dumbass.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I get it now. Even though the guy is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
he makes some good music, I think.
Well, we did avoid him being president, so small victories.
Yeah, but I mean, 2024, man.
I'll be moving to Denmark when that happens.
Yeah.
I remember specifically, not to get super political, but during the whole campaign, it was obviously very divisive here. And people are always like, why do you like Biden? I'm like, I don't. I would just vote for anyone other than Trump. And then Kanye's like, I'm running. I'm like, okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, he really saw like his opportunity to go in, but then he like forgot to.
It was like so register. Late. It was so late. Like he couldn't even register in most places, and it's just like, what? I don't even know.
Yeah. No, but I totally feel you on the Biden thing, on the Trump thing. I mean, it's there anything other than Trump was like a good resort, I guess.
It literally has been very refreshing this year to wake up and not immediately look at the news to be like, what fresh hell is today going to bring? And just be like, oh, nothing happened. It's just quiet. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, we experienced it too. I mean, the Danish media is, they love, they report a lot on American politics. So, I mean, I guess all countries do, but yeah, I mean, we're experiencing the same thing over here.
Yeah.
With your own politics, or just?
No. I mean, as like you're saying, like not waking up and looking at the news and seeing what Trump has fucked up now.
Yeah, it was very much like, did he tweet us into a war last night? What happened? Yeah, it was not a good 4 years, but yeah, it's been nuts. So Denmark, is a super chill country when I was there, and it was a long time ago. But I feel like America is trying to be more chill. I mean, you guys have had legalized marijuana for quite a while, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, no, you're. I know what you're thinking of, but it's not legalized. But there's in Copenhagen. There's well, how would you call it? Like a free state?
Yeah,
like a little commune or community, which is kind of
it's governed by like
hippies, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was
an
old military base.
Yeah.
It was an old military base that some hippies kind of overthrew in the 70s.
Yeah.
And since then, it's just kind of been like this area in the city where, police aren't allowed to enter. And
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so there's like there's a pusher street where there's just like stands and stands and stands of people selling marijuana, just like on the street.
Huh.
So I mean,
but it's not legal.
It's not technically legal, but you can buy it on the street.
Oh, so that's interesting. Like it's one of the, it's like by the time that story gets over to here in the U.S., people are like, oh my god, it's legal, it's everywhere. It's always just interesting to kind of like hear exactly what's going on.
Yeah, but I mean, I was surprised to hear back when it happened that you guys legalized marijuana before.
Yeah, before we did.
Because
and
I had always thought of Christiania, which is the name of the place, as like this really progressive thing. Which I mean, it is, but yeah, the politics around it here is not very progressive. I mean, there's been discussions about it, but I don't. Really know.
It's very interesting here because much like you guys, it's legal and it's not at the same time. So the states have legalized it, but not the federal government. So some states it's legal, some states it's not.
Oh yeah.
But none of it's legal in the federal government's eyes, but the federal government isn't really enforcing it. So it really just boils down to like all the marijuana businesses are basically like cash businesses, because still they're technically drug dealers and the government could seize their money. So it's a very weird situation right now. And there's a big movement to legalize it federally, but everything here takes decades to get done. So
yeah,
that's really strange. Yeah, that's like legal at one layer of government, but illegal at
like the higher level. Yeah, it's very weird. And it
really
was basically Barack, who was like, didn't say that they're going to legalize it. He's like, we're just not going to enforce it. So then states kind of could do what they want. More and more states every year pass, different legalizations. And I think, was it Oregon? I can't remember who it was. Someone like decriminalized, I think, most drugs. And it's a weird time because everything else is pushed to be more and more conservative, except for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is strange.
That's also like Portugal. They also decriminalized, I think, all drugs up to a certain amount.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can like carry heroin on the street as long as you don't carry too much, right? As long as it's for like personal use. It's pretty insane. But I mean, I think that I'm pretty sure all studies show that like drug use has gone down after it's been decriminalized.
Right, because it makes it easier for people who are having problems to get help, because it's not like, oh, am I going to get arrested while I'm trying to get help? Yeah, but Americans don't like studies. We don't like fancy book learning. I don't know how we got kind of political, but it was probably my fault. So what's next? So you have a new album out. I know we kind of talked about touring, but are you working on some new music already, or are you just trying to focus on this new album?
I think we're starting to write new songs.
Yeah, I mean, but it's, I guess it's happening a little, I mean, not slowly, but just, it's like I was saying earlier with the new guys that we've kind of assembled for the group. I mean, it's kind of taking some time to try to figure out how to go about making new songs together. And, you kind of have to rediscover, I guess, which roles should people take. And,
are they open to your Kanye West tribute album? Do you think you're gonna work hip hop into it, or some sort of hip hop influence?
Well, honestly, yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm really not.
I think we're pretty open to like everything.
Yeah, but that also kind of makes it difficult because, I mean, it can be difficult to be too open to too many things at once. I mean, where we came from with the other guys, I mean, there was like one way to play, and that really limited everything. Kind of in a nice way, because there wasn't too many options, and so I think we kind of have to rethink everything now, which is it's a lot of fun, but it also kind of, yeah, it's maybe a little difficult to just go about doing it the way you're used to.
All right.
Yeah,
and it's probably that balance between wanting to have something that sounds new and creative, but at the same time stay true to like your sound.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
I mean, unless you're like, are you guys familiar with Ween?
Ween,
WEEN. They're a band out of Pennsylvania, and their style is almost to not have a style, and every song is completely different.
Okay.
But it's great. Like, I highly recommend you should check them out, and because there's one that sounds kind of like an old country western song, and then it'll jump to something completely different in a different genre, and every single one is totally weird and strange, but great band.
Nice. I'll check that out. Yeah. But that's, I mean, it definitely, like you say, that's definitely the dilemma, is how far can you go with it and still call yourself communions? I mean, that's kind of like where we're at right now. But we're also just kind of, I think, waiting to see how people like the album, and just excited for that to get released, because it really has been a long time going into making this. And so yeah, it really feels like just an accomplishment. Just getting it released is something we're looking forward to.
Nice. Yeah. So when is the official release date?
April 23rd.
Yeah.
April 23rd. So this might be going up. This will be going up around then. I'm not sure if it's going to be before or after. So where can our listeners go on April 23rd, or if April 23rd is already passed, where can they go to check out the album?
Well, I guess on every streaming platform, it'll be out everywhere. I mean, and you can also pre-order the record right now. if you want a vinyl. On Bandcamp, it'll be there.
Yeah, Bandcamp seems to be like a not up and coming. It's been around for a while, but they seem to be the most friendly towards the actual artists.
Yeah. I mean, definitely most streaming platforms don't really. I mean, it's just crazy how little artists.
You get like 4 cents every time your song is played or something.
Not even. I don't think. I don't know what the. I don't remember the actual thing, but it's really minuscule.
So where can our listeners go to find you guys on social media? I know you guys are on Facebook and Instagram. But what's your handles there?
Instagram, Twitter. We have a Twitter. We have a website you can check out for like new info, and there's also a mailing list on there you can sign up for to get like news that we'll be sending out regarding stuff with the record. So.
And you guys are on YouTube? Yeah, right?
Yeah,
we're on YouTube too.
So I got to ask, this is kind of it's sort of related, but when I was checking you guys out on YouTube, there are sculptures that they almost look like green hands with strings that are laced in between them.
Yeah.
Who's that? Like, how did that come to be? Because I thought that was really weird and cool.
Yeah. It's my I have a girlfriend that goes to the Visual Art Academy here in Copenhagen, and she did this sculpture that we have used. Yeah, that's the sculpture.
Oh, it's really cool.
For all the singles, and it's also on the album cover with the strings. You
want to give her a shout out? I'd love to like check out more of her work. So.
Yeah, her name is Hannah, Hannah. Amalie Nielsen. So Nielsen is spelled Nielsen. Yeah, I mean she's still just a student at the academy here, but she's definitely doing some really. I love all the stuff she does. A lot of like textile stuff as well, and like weaving, and yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I'll have to check it out.
And so we just used that sculpture because we thought it fit really nicely with a lot of like I guess some of the overarching like themes on the album with like fate and identity and stuff. There's definitely just something really cool about the hands with the strings through
yeah, it was really neat. It made me think of like marionettes and
yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. Yeah,
I think she was inspired by the Norns, the from like Nordic mythology, the Norns that like spin the fate of men.
Yeah.
And that really just kind of like struck a chord with me in terms of what a lot of the songs are, or some of the songs are, doing. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, I want to say thank you for taking the time out to talk to us. You guys are probably like mid-afternoon now?
Yeah, it's like
okay. I was gonna say thanks for getting up this early, but you guys are the other way.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Anytime you guys got new stuff to promote, please reach out. We'd love to have you back on. It's a lot of fun. And if you guys come to the US, let us know. We'll swing by the show. And
definitely. Let's hope that happens, sometime soon.
Sometime. I mean, pandemics can't last forever, right?
We'll see.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody for listening. We'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or on Instagram at Inebri-art6. You can email us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And make sure you listen to the other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network, including Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror Podcast, and our newest one, Theme Park Legends, a podcast about working at theme parks. What else? And we'll catch you again next time.